Okay.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the May Microcap Virtual Conference. My name is Stefan Guillaume, and it is great to have Dr. Kotra, CEO, and Zishan Saeed, President of FSD Pharma, ticker HUGE. We'll have 30 minutes, and the format will be a presentation followed by Q&A at the end. So if you have a question, please submit it into the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and I'm more than happy to ask on your behalf. With that, Dr. Kotra and Saeed, take it away.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for listening to this presentation. I'm the chairman of the board and the founder of FSD Pharma. I'll start with just explaining some highlights and the attractive position the company is in, and then leave it in the capable hands of Dr. Kotra to explain the science side of things, as he's the inventor and the architect of the MS molecule as well as our beverage product. So I guess we are based in Toronto with offices in Maryland and office in Australia. The highlights are that we have a world-class pipeline of different molecules and products that are focused on neurodegenerative and neuropsychiatric disorders. And many of them have multi-billion-dollar markets and unmet needs. We have made a very unique product that addresses acute alcohol intoxication, and we'll tell you about it. It's very interesting. So with our company, you have several shots on the goal with multiple assets in development. So we are not a one-trick pony. We have several things in the pipeline, so the risk is mitigated. On top of that, we have a world-class team of scientists and KOLs with drug development and pharmaceutical expertise. Recently, for the beverage alcohol and misuse product, we have been joined by the former CEO of Celsius, and Kevin Harrington has joined our advisory board. Kevin Harrington, as you know, is the original shark. So because this product has so much potential, they have joined to help us launch this. In addition to that, we have a very solid cap table, 38.1 million shares issued and outstanding, about $65 million market cap. We have a strong cash position, no debt in the company. And from here, I'll let Dr. Kotra take over. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jishan. Welcome, and it's my pleasure to talk to you about our pipeline at FSD Pharma. Our company is primarily neuroinflammatory and metabolic disorders focused. We address challenging disorders and try to develop novel and innovative solutions in direction. We are a clinical stage biopharma company, and we have 4 pipelines currently that we are developing. All 4 of them pretty much are in either clinical development or somewhere closer to the launch stage. LUC-21302, it's our lead compound in multiple sclerosis. It's currently undergoing phase 1 clinical studies in Canada. We expect that to complete it in 2023. LUC-201, it's our lead compound in major depression disorder and other mental health indications. We are doing that phase 1 clinical trial in Australia. We have the approvals to commence the clinical study for phase 1A, 1B, and that will be happening in the summer. FSD-201 is for the indication of nociplastic pain and treatment of such pain in MCAS, or mast cell activation syndrome. The phase 2 clinical trial started Q4 2022, currently ongoing trial. And our 4th pipeline is in the treatment of effects of acute alcohol intoxication and inebriation. It's a dietary supplement as opposed to all other drugs that are pharmaceutical development. And this dietary supplement is at the pre-commercial stage. And we expect to launch that in Q4 23 or Q1 2024. Our first asset, which is LUC-21302, is in multiple sclerosis space. And as many know, MS is a chronic inflammatory and degenerative disorder of the CNS. And the latest stats suggest that every 5 minutes, someone in the world is diagnosed with MS. So the incidences are growing. And one of the major problems with this particular disorder is that there is still unmet need to slow the disease progression and at resolving the demyelination, which is the critical pathology that is seen in this particular disorder. The market is growing over the years. It's now projected to be at around $30 billion by 2030 or so. As more drugs are becoming available, it's there are a lot of immunomodulated drugs that are coming. There is a kind of frustration and fatigue in the healthcare practice treatment, and similar mechanisms of actions are not going to be taken very nicely, and one needs new mechanisms of action and novel drugs in this space. A little bit detail into the pathology of the disorder. The fundamentally, our neurons, they communicate or transmit signals from one end of the neuron to the other end. In a healthy neuron, the signals are getting transferred in all our brains and spinal cords from there to the rest of the body. In MS patients, myelin, so-called the protective layer on the neurons, is damaged. Because of that, the transmission of the neuronal signals doesn't happen. That leads to the clinical symptoms that we see. And there is an inflammatory component as well as a neurodegenerative component, such as this loss of myelin. A clinical pathology standpoint of view, it is considered as a RRMS as an early stage disease, eventually leading to secondary and primary progressive MS. But the progression of the disease exists from the early stages of the disease all the way to the patient becoming immobile. We've been working on this for about 10, 12 years now. Our lead compound is first in class. It's a disease-modifying treatment. And one of the animal study data is shown here. On the left-hand side panel that you see is a mouse brain that had MS-like condition. And the purple color that you see is the loss of myelin in the brain of the mouse that has the disease. And then the middle and the right as the mouse that had the disease but treated with our drug molecule. And the complete appearance of this blue color indicates that the mouse is, the demyelination is now disappeared and the myelin is appearing in these brains. So this is the physically in the brain what's happening in these mice. Our drug molecule is a new chemical entity, new mechanism of action to prevent and reduce demyelination, which is the primary cause in MS. In addition, there is accelerated functional recovery, that is, movements of the appendages in the mouse are observed, and reduced axonal degeneration. And the other difference between all other drugs that are there versus our drug is our compound is non-immunosuppressive. It's an oral drug and excellent efficacy in the animal models, and the company has license worldwide for this patented technology. I want to share very briefly with you a little bit of a functional recovery and video on the preclinical data that we have. The graph that you see in the right-hand side shows the clinical scorings. In the black, what you see is a diseased mouse. Higher the graph, the more disease that the mouse has. When we start treating the mouse in the red that you see, treated mouse, the disease tends to be going down. Mouse is recovering. And that is seen through these two videos that you see. The video on the top is a diseased mouse. The tail and the hind legs do not function properly. And that's the mouse that's at score 2.5 that you see on the left. On the bottom, the video that you see is a mouse that reached the disease stage like this, but treated with our drug. And you see the functional recovery where the mouse now becomes normal. It can move around and can explore the cage that it is in with all its curiosity, if you will, things of that nature. So you can see the complete difference in the functionality of this disease. And you saw in the previous slide how their brains are also different. About 2 weeks ago, last week we released this press release related to our cohort 1 phase 1 clinical data from human study of this particular disease. Well, we've completed cohort 1. The data is very, very encouraging in human being safety and tolerability study. What you see are the 2 observation groups for the cohort 1, and on the top left are the bottles that are used to give our drug to the healthy volunteers. Preliminary data from the PK standpoint of view in human being is very encouraging. We are very much looking forward to the next stages of this transformative technology for the treatment of multiple sclerosis. Our goal in 2023 is to complete the phase 1 study and also align the regulatory activity to launch phase 2 in 2024. The second asset that we have is LUCI-201 for mental health challenges. And mental health, specifically, we are looking at depression. There's feedback coming. Can someone mute, please? Yes, thanks. And our first line of treatment today is antidepressants that are not very effective. And treatment-resistant depression also is almost 30% of cases we see that. So there is a major need in the world for this particular mental health challenges. New mechanisms are the key for the new compounds coming into the market, and the market sizes are very large in the 7 major markets, North America and Europe, that we've been looking at. LUCI-201 is a potentially clinically effective solution to bridge the gap in the existing treatment options. I'm going to give a very high-level overview of our program in this aspect. We have a novel drug formulation for optimal and measured delivery to patients that have mental health challenges, and our goal is to remove the need for so-called cognitive behavioral therapy, so it's accessible to patients much more readily. Our lead compound is a psilocybin family of compounds, and we developed a unique solution here to stabilize the API and the drug formulation. Phase 1 clinical trial was approved in Australia by Ethics Committee. It's a phase 1A, 1B trial, where in 1B we recruit the patients for safety and tolerability. And we are looking forward to commencing that trial with first patient in June, July timeline. FSD's unique advantage in this particular asset is that we have very promising epidemiological data. The other aspect that we are very excited about is that depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges are common in neurodegenerative disorders such as MS. So there is a very common angle that we see for mental health and neurodegenerative disorders such as MS for the treatment purposes. That brings me to our plans on this asset. We are hoping to complete the phase 1 study in 2023. We'll be on the tail end of this, and by Q1 of 2024, we should have completed all the outcomes for phase 1B as well, and we will start to look at launching phase 2 in 2024. Our third asset is FSD-201, and its indications are primarily in the inflammatory disorders. FSD-201 is a proprietary ultramicronized formulation of palmitoylethanolamide. Palmitoylethanolamide is an endogenous molecule produced in our body in response to stress. And the mechanisms are proven mechanisms. Clinical pharmacology is solid in this space. And after significant research, we've honed on to pain or inflammatory pain in mast cell activation syndrome, which is an unmet need. And our current phase 2 clinical trial is designed for exact endpoint in that case. And other inflammatory conditions that this drug would be useful is in rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, as well as other inflammatory chronic pains. Our phase 2 study currently that's going on, phase 2A, is a 60-patient study. 2 sites in the US, 1 site in Canada are currently working on this trial. And our primary objective is to evaluate the analgesic efficacy of FSD-201 in subjects with chronic widespread musculoskeletal nociplastic pain in MCAS patients. And our goal is to be able to complete this trial in 2023. and potentially position the asset for an NDA submission due to very, very strong phase 1 safety clinical data for this asset so that we can gain access to the market. Our fourth
So
asset.
for this, let me just explain in layman terms, Lakshmi. So for the non-scientific people, I guess the product we've developed here is, let's suppose you take a few shots and your blood alcohol level goes up to 0.08, where if you're stopped and a reading is taken through a breathalyzer by an officer, your car will be impounded, you'll get a ticket, probably a charge. We will give you this alcohol and we'll take your breathalyzer reading, and then when you are at that level, probably you won't be able to walk straight, will be slurring. We'll give you our product. After taking it, you'll be sober in 30 minutes, and not just that, we will show you through your breathalyzer reading that your blood alcohol level will go down significantly faster. And that's what this thing does. We think it's going to change society. Having said that, we've showed this to some people, and former people who took the Celsius energy drink to where it is today wants to join our team in helping us launch this product. And I'll give it to Dr. Kotra again to explain the science and the other stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Jishan. So fourth asset is in the space of alcohol intoxication, as Jishan was mentioning. In daily life, there is a very common tendency that people consume excess alcohol, and this is also an issue outside the society in the hospital setting, where in emergency rooms, patients coming in with alcohol in their body in a variety of cases. Typically, the process even today is that it takes time for this alcohol to be metabolized, and only time can lower the blood alcohol content and sobering one up. And our goal is to change this. If someone has excess alcohol in the body, can we somehow help accelerate that metabolism, but also make them sober faster, ideally in less than 20 minutes or so. In the hospital side, hospitals constantly on a daily basis receive both people who are hurt, who have some disease, or otherwise who are drunk coming into the emergency rooms. They occupy very, very expensive hospital time, bed time, costing the hospital significantly. So along those lines, our company has spent a significant amount of research in the past several months coming up with a dietary supplement ingredient in the United States. In Canada, it's categorized as a natural health product. The prototype form, the product container looks the way on the right-hand side. We have a world-class science team in alcohol research helping us bringing this into shape for market launch. Ideation, branding, market research, supply chain, production, other necessary late stage activities that are necessary are underway at this time. And Canada, US, and Australia, probably some European jurisdictions we are looking at as potential target markets. And the potential product launch, either winter 2024, fall 2023 would be the timeline. And we are looking at consumer market as well as hospital line of products as well for their obvious use in both sectors. We filed a provisional patent a few weeks ago, and other barriers such as regulatory and branding, things of that nature, have been taken into account as well. And the activities in this particular asset in 2023, we're looking at covering our patents, regulatory affairs, things of that nature, packaging, marketing, distribution strategies to be in place very soon, so that we can do a launch in the next 6 to 9 months timeline, if you will. Just to reiterate, so we have a strong IP position in the assets that we work in, diversified product portfolio in neuroinflammatory disorders and metabolic disorders, and there is a significant potential for the company to grow where we stand today in the market's point of view. This is our advisory board on the Kevin Harrington, who was the original Shark Tank TV show, is a very, very smart individual in business. Jerry David, who was the CEO of Celsius, as well, experienced people trying to help us on the beverage product side, the dietary supplement side, and regulatory advisors, ex-GSK and ex-FDA advisors, our science and clinical advisory boards, Order of Canada, University College London, neurologists, immunologists, and mental health professionals in our team. And the management team is what you see most. Our goal here is to drive our product pipelines forward to enhance the shareholder value overall. So with that, I'm going to turn this to Jishan, please.
Yes, so I guess that concludes our presentation. Stephen, are we going to be open to questions?
All right, thank you, Dr. Kotra. Looks like we have a few questions. So I guess first question is, what is the proposed mechanism of action of the FSD compound? Does it aid in clearance?
Sure. Which compound is that?
This FDFR compound.
Okay, fine. That's ethanol or alcohol intoxication. So the mechanisms here are twofold. One is one is the liver, the other one is in the brain. So there are neurocognitive and the metabolism enhancing agents. Both are present to enhance metabolism and also reverse inebriation by enhancing neurocognitive abilities.
Thank you. And what would be involved for the clinical study for the beverage as well as the cost?
All I can say on that question is that our goal is to initiate a clinical study in the summer timeline.
So let me add to that. So this is not the same clinical, it's not going to be the same clinical trial as you do for a biotech molecule as per se. These are mostly come with a combination of dietary supplements. And we can put our product without clinical trials as a functional beverage like they do, like with the energy drinks. But for hospital's sake and getting into all these, let's say, government organizations, as we say, we are looking to do a clinical trial, which will not be as extensive or rigorous as what we do with other molecules. And the endpoints and the design is being done as we speak.
Right. Thank you, Jishan. That's a very good point. So from clinical standpoint of view, these are not phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. The clinical trial, the product is classified under dietary supplements category and under US FDA, so we can put it under the shelf without a clinical trial. The reason for clinical trial is to be able to make claims that we would like to make, which is primarily for the hospital product. For the consumer product, there is less barrier to enter the market. Thank you, Jishan. That was good. Yes.
And can you talk about your strategy and plan for the advanced assets as you continue to develop new products?
So I guess we do have a pretty good cash position, but yes, of course, the plan is that as we go into different phases, we'll go out and look for money. And we feel that we don't have to immediately raise money because we feel that we're not trading at the market valuation that we would have liked to see. And that's the plan. We do have plans to take all our assets to market, except for maybe some of them will do a kind of partnership with maybe the PE asset. We are looking to diversify and do marketing. And the main reason is that our whole focus is on the brain side in the biotech world. And that has more to do with inflammation. So.
Right. I think, Stefan, I can see now the chat questions here. I saw a number of questions related to partnerships and our strategy for partnerships. So yes, we are open to discussing partnerships, mutually beneficial ones, no problem whatsoever. On the FSDF or the beverage product, yes, we do have proprietary blends that we have been trademarking in that context. And the other question I have is proposed mechanism that we already addressed that. Is there an aspect of the company which you think the street has underappreciated? Maybe Jishan, if you want to take that on.
So I have this question by John Posteraro. How
Yes.
much will it cost to launch the beverage for sale? So it will cost into millions, and just the clinical trial alone will cost us in the range of $1 million+. But having said that, do we plan to do it ourselves? We are very open to do it with partners, and for those reasons, we have started talking to the ex-management of Celsius, which took the Celsius um, energy drink all the way to where it is today. But we are open for partnerships in reply to John's answer. And Sebastian, I'm not sure if John can listen to us or how does this work?
No, he can hear you.
Okay, so I guess that is the answer for John Patterson. Commercialization strategy, like I said, we are looking for partners for some of the assets, but at this moment, it's too early since we're in phase one to really have a proper documented commercialization strategy. What else is there?
So, Jishan, one of the questions that is there an aspect of the company which you think the street has underappreciated, given the stock prices trend over the last few years?
Yes, so there are many factors which led to where the price is today. We did go through a proxy fight in 2021 and we won. And then we went through about 16 litigation um, cases, court cases, and we won most all of them. And if you see the latest press release as of today, we were awarded $2.8 million in one of those cases. The case was for 30 million US, which was an existential threat sort of for our company. The shorts had a field year that year in 2020, and then as we know, the whole biotech sector has been taking a nosedive. So all these factors have contributed in where the market valuation is of today. We believe that just the MS molecule has the potential to be into billions, and just the beverage product has the potential to be in billions of its own. So you can do the math yourself. If we believe it's trading at a very attractive valuation for any investor.
Stefan?
I guess for your Celsius drink, I think you talked about it. What kind of regulatory hurdles that are you gonna have to talk to the FDA about this at all?
So the product is classified as a dietary supplement, and usually for dietary supplements, you do not need FDA approval as we need for a drug. There is a regulatory barrier, but that's very, very small, like any other beverage that you find on the shelf, like Red Bull or types of things. That's the type of regulatory strategy that is being employed for our beverage as well.
All right. Well, looks like we're out of time. Do you have any closing remarks before we conclude?
Jishan?
I guess that's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you for your questions. And take it from there. Thank you, Sidoti.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.